Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the program. Thank you for being here. I got the latest news. Something really weird's going on. I don't even know where to start because this is last minute. I was going to let this sit a little bit, but the news is just getting cranked out so quick. It is virtually impossible to keep up with. So obviously a new shooter, left-wing guy, decided to take some shots at a nice facility. He missed all the officers and took out two out of the three. It's not funny, but he took out two out of the three ICE detained immigrants that were getting deported. The leftists removed them from the earth. I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny that this is happening, but we're in just such a weird time that it's funny that he wanted to. He thought he was doing some good for his side, and he ended up just doing something stupid. I'm not laughing that it's funny. I'm laughing that it's of the irony of it. It is so ironic. For the last, you guys on YouTube at least, watching Tim Pool, I know many of you don't like him. And for 6 or 8 years, he's been screaming, Civil War. But, day by day, it looks as if what he's predicting is correct because the left doesn't want to de-escalate. No matter what happens, they just blame the right. They just blame conservatives. Now you have politicians calling our government, its own government, but because it's under Trump, calling us fascists and Stasi and Nazis and everything else. And it just keeps escalating. And they keep turning to the conservatives saying, well, you need to turn the rhetoric down. We're the ones getting shot. It's up to you. And a couple of days after they took, somebody earlier said President Trump ate a bullet. No, he didn't eat a bullet. That would have been here. He heard a bullet go very close to his head. And a day or two after that, they were already back out saying, well, he brought it on himself. He's fomenting hate and anger and whatever. And the same thing happens with Charlie Kirk. It's his own fault. Well, if we're now to the stage of normalizing this and still blaming the people that are getting shot at and or catching the rounds, how bad? Where are we? Are they trying to normalize this? And the left is escalating at full throttle. And conservatives are pointing to the fact that leftists are escalating at full throttle. And the leftists look at them and they say, well, you brought it on yourself. You're evil people. There's no returning. At this point in time, I would vote for my dog Walker for president than I ever would a Democrat politician, whether that's for a school board, a judge, a sheriff, anything else. You got a D next to that name, you're out. Now, the bad thing is, it doesn't guarantee if you have an R next to your name, I'm voting for you either. But the point is, I'm done with the Democrat Party, not that I was ever really on board with them. And so are a lot of other people. And then you've got people that are on the left that are applauding and cheering Jimmy Kimmel late night for his non-apology, his tearful non-apology where he really said nothing. And they're saying, Trump is evil. Republicans are evil. They need to be wiped off the map. Those people are never changing sides. I know people that voted for Obama that will never vote for a Democrat again in 10 years. And the opposite is true, I'm sure. So there's becoming more and more hardliners, and the only difference that's going to sway elections now is the center 10 to 20%. The mouth breathers that don't pay attention to the news, that only read the headlines of the news articles. The mouth breathers are going to be controlling the fate of this country, the uninformed or ill-informed, because the rest of us are either in the know, which I believe is our side, you may disagree, or they're just hardline left and they believe everything the media says and everything else. And the reason I'm going to be putting this on YouTube and the reason why I'm doing this on YouTube is while this is a news story, it's more about what is happening to our society. I do not feel there's a return. No one is letting off the gas. No one. But this is what I'm talking about. And this is the bigger news. I think now, Tim Pool, I know many of you don't like him. I know that. But he has for a long time said there's no coming together for the sides. And he said they don't want peace with you. They want to destroy you. And he's been yelling civil war for a long time. I think he's right. Now, I myself thought Tim Pool was a little bit out in la la land when he kept yelling this for the last, 5 or 8 years. But he's kind of right, because the conservatives are saying, look, you took a shot at Trump. And the left said, yeah, we condemn all violence, but also he has it coming. Also, he's Hitler and a Nazi and the Stasi and everything else. Literally 2 days after. And then we've got the shooting that happened at the Christian school where somebody had messages against Christianity and conservatives. Well, it's both sides. No, it was a train with a gun. That's going to have to get pulled out of YouTube. But it was. Then it happens 3 or 4 more times. And they keep saying, we need to talk about these weapons of war. The guy's using it. Now, this is what's strange. All these most recent ones are older weapons, which in many ways makes you wonder, did defunding USAID take away all the nice weapons and now they're just rummaging through closets for the old stuff that they can get their hands on that they have left in stock? Could defunding USAID already have made a difference? I don't know. This is Gavin Newsom. Just last night, just after Kimmel gets removed for his statements on air, just after Charlie Kirk, 12 days after they went after Charlie Kirk. Let's listen to him cool down the temperature to a national audience of lefties, because that's who the only mouth breathers that are left that listen to Jimmy Kimmel. That's all that's left.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability, happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? We're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country. And so I'm deeply proud that I had the privilege of signing the nation's first bill to address the issue of masking, also to require you have simple identification, to your point. I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back. And so these are not just authoritarian tendencies. These are authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government. You saw what Stephen Miller said last week. This should put chills up fine. Called the Democratic Party an extremist organization, basically a terrorist organization, saying he's going after his enemies. You saw the tweet that Donald Trump sent out, Truth Social, basically telling Pam Bondi, I want these 3 people taken out. That's happening in the United States.
So here's kind of what happens. Democrats commit crime, i.e. Obama and the James Comey and the former FBI. They commit crime trying to basically give false information about a false investigation, a Russiagate against Trump, so he doesn't get elected. Then when they get caught doing that and Trump says, well, we're going to arrest you. What you're doing is illegal. Then the Democrats scream, authoritarian government, they're coming for us. Because you broke crime. You broke the law. You committed crimes. So what's he say in the beginning? From the New York Post, Gavin Newsom ripped for decrying ICE's private domestic army just hours before 2 fatal Dallas shootings that killed 2. They're not cooling this down. Because he keeps calling it Trump's army. And now in this one, in this so-called Rep. Jim Jeffries, who's the House minority, is he the Senate or the House? I think he's the Senate minority, with Jasmine Crockett, that ratchet chick. And listen to what they're saying. They tell you right to your face, you're our enemy. Now, do you see this guy on the left up here? The Colonel Sanders without the beard and the mustache? Here's Colonel Sanders right here. I want you to hear what Colonel Sanders, and this is actually Rep. John Larson. He's the member of Congress representing the 1st District of Connecticut. Listen to what he says. Is he turning the temperature down? Is he cooling things off?
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America. Unmask yourselves.
Once again, unmask yourselves. This isn't the SS or the Gestapo. Unmask yourselves so we can dox you, so we can go after your families. J.D. Vance responds. I'll play a couple of his responses.
And I think that is the most disgusting thing. The very people who keep us safe ought to be honored and protected and praised by Democrats and Republicans alike. It is time to stop the rhetorical assault on law enforcement. Because here's what happens. Because here's what happens when Democrats like Gavin Newsom did say that these people are part of an authoritarian government. When the left-wing media lies about what they're doing, when they lie about who they're arresting, when they lie about the actual job of law enforcement, what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America.
He also has one more follow-up here. I'll just play this one as well. I think this one's different.
And they said that immigration enforcement, you know what they said? That immigration enforcement had detained a 5-year-old autistic girl in order to get to that girl's father. Turned out that story was a complete fabrication. It was a complete dishonest lie. But when you go around and lie about our law enforcement and you tell them that they're mistreating 5-year-old girls, what do you think is going to happen? When Democratic politicians incur doxing, when they encourage us to unmask ICE enforcement officers, what do you think is going to happen? When the mayor of Los Angeles encourages violent protesters to get in the face of our law enforcement, what do you think is going to happen? What's going to happen is political violence, and political violence has gotten out of control in this country. We got to stop it. We got to condemn it. And that starts, unfortunately, at the very top of the Democratic Party. If you want to stop political violence, stop attacking our law enforcement as the Gestapo. If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everybody who disagrees with you is a Nazi. If you want to stop political violence, look in the mirror. That's the way that we stop political violence in this country, and we've got to do it.
I mean, he's not wrong. I can pull up easily. As a matter of fact, my bookmarks, whenever I do a video, I go back and because I bookmark a lot of this stuff on X as it comes out live. I'll do a video and it'll be an hour long, and then I go back to my bookmarks and delete 80% of them because I say, well, the video's done. I didn't use these examples. I have AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Bernie Sanders and Hakeem Jeffries and Gavin Newsom. I can go through 30 Democrat politicians that are calling everybody associated with the right white Christian nationalists, calling them Nazis, calling them Stasi, calling them fascist, calling them authoritarian, I can pull up 30 or 40 of those on the right, or on the left, on the left. And then on the right, what do I pull up? I have people telling the Democrats to knock it off. And then the Democrats using that to say, hey, you're calling us out? You're threatening harm against us now. We can't keep two sidesing this. And part of my problem is I don't really love the Republicans. I really don't. I like J.D. Vance. I like most of what Trump's doing. I like many that are right-leaning and that are Republican, but there is part of me that worries. And I'll tell you why. Because if the left goes too crazy, we saw it with Pam Bondi saying that we need to examine hate speech and this other stuff. There's part of me that worries that if the left gets bad enough, the right does have to start putting in laws and putting in restrictions on things to try to rein in the left. And it's going to rein in all of our freedoms. But interestingly enough, how do we continue at this? You've got the left already claiming that the minute they're in power, the minute that Trump is out of office, they're going after him and his entire cabinet. Anybody that was involved with Trump, they're going to throw in prison. Hakeem Jeffries said that 2 days ago. So what do? This is what happens when you get into these I say third world countries, but when you get into these dictatorships, what happens is, for example, let's say Trump gets elected or Trump steps down and Democrats get into power next. And the Democrats go after Trump and jail him, and J.D. Vance and jail him, and Cash and all the others of his administration, and they jail him. The Democrats will then think to themselves, okay, now that we've set this precedent, the next time Republicans get power, they're going to jail us. We can't let them get back in power. So we're going to fix the rigging so we never lose again. We're going to open the borders again so we never lose again. Something will happen. That's why it's such a big deal that Obama and these other Hillary Clinton and the rest of them, they did this Russiagate thing. That was what they were doing, is we got to keep the Republicans out of power. And they got caught. And now, ironically, if Trump sends the Democrats to jail for them breaking the law to make him lose the election, the Democrats will use that to stoke fire that Trump is authoritarian. And yes, they did jail it. They already did start jailing political opponents because they tried to jail Trump. They tried to jail the lawyers that defended Trump. I understand it's already started, but how does this stop? How does this get corrected in any way, shape, or form? If the left just says, hey, yeah, we broke the law to try to keep Trump out of office, which, again, go look up the case that our government has against the Russiagate hoax and all that stuff. It directly doesn't imply, it directly points a finger and has evidence of Obama and Hillary Clinton and their cabinets and the FBI doing it. I mean, there's evidence. Now it becomes, do they do anything about it? Do they arrest their political opponents? If you say no, they shouldn't. The precedent has already been broken. They tried to jail Trump and his lawyers from last time. And if you say no, that we shouldn't arrest them, well, that means they're going to do it again and throw an election again, or throw out fake information like the laptop Hunter Biden and the 50 FBI or CIA agents that came out and said it was definitely real. All of this stuff. We're to the point now where they're either going to cheat and you arrest them, in which case they're going to call you authoritarian, or they're going to cheat and you don't arrest them and they're just going to cheat again. And that's what it seems like to me. This is from last night. Antifa outside of a hotel housing ICE agents that are in Boston. Again, this happened all night long. How are these people paying their bills? Do they not have jobs? How do they have all these nice, perfectly printed banners and the sticks that all look exactly the same? All night long. And who's at the lead? Women playing drums, women on the microphones, women leading the cheers. Why do these women not have jobs? Why do the guys here do that? How are these people making money? Everything, it's just too coincidental. Someone's paying these people to do this, and there is proof that they're being paid. From Benny Johnson, former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf sends a strict warning, saying specifically, left-wing violence will not stop without real, hard-hitting deterrence. So once again, it is very much becoming a left versus right, and there's no middle ground anymore. There's no more two sidesing this. There's no more both sidesing this.
Talk us through what happens next. Like, where should we go from here? Because I got to tell you, Chad, I've had a belly full of it. I've had a belly full of, like, losing friends. I'm sick of, like, having to cover Trump assassination trials like we did yesterday. Like, there's so much violence on the left. And somebody has to, like, actually take it seriously, because again, it's not stopping. Jimmy Kimmel ain't apologizing, and they didn't.
Let me say this. If somebody is on the left, not that they would necessarily watch my content at this point anymore, because feminists are definitely left. And if you're on the left and you're like, well, I like feminists. Okay, how are you on the left then? Do you support feminism? And if you do, how do you watch my content? I've been anti-feminist for 5 years. But let's say someone is on the Democrat side and they say, okay, everybody's lying. Everybody on the Trump side is lying. If that's your argument, fine. But can we not agree that the schools that have been shot up the last 5 or 6 have been left-leaning, trans-identifying lefties? Can we not agree on that, even though we have all the evidence? And if you say no, that's a lie, then how do we bring the two sides together when each one is saying the other side is lying, and each one is saying the other side is the violent one, and each side is the other one? It's the other side that's wrong. So if there is someone on the left and they say, well, all of this is BS, dude, like it's how do we bring it together? Honest question. How do you bring this together anymore? Because when Charlie Kirk got ended, when Charlie Kirk was ended at the end with a point of an assassin's bullet, a lot of the people on right that were fine up to that moment, myself included, said, well, you literally shot the messenger, dude. Like, he was moderate. If you listen to Charlie Kirk's take on a lot of things, I know many people won't believe this. He was moderate. He was very moderate. I think that's what the left doesn't understand, is there's a lot further right than Charlie. And that doesn't include the guys with little mustaches throwing their arms up into the air. It's not them. That's not who I'm talking about. There's Christian fundamentalists that are saying, nope, no, L, G, H, T, and B, it's all bad. It's all bad in the eyes of the Lord. No baby deletion. No more. That is off the table 100%. He committed a federal crime and he got a murder charge. Hang him by a noose. Hang him by, that's it. Nope. No rehabilitation. 3 strike, you're out. Put him at the end of a rope. There's a lot of people on the conservative side that are a lot more right wing than Charlie Kirk was. So a lot of people on the right said, hey, we gave this a shot and you took him out. And it wasn't even the taking him out that really, I mean, yes, that upset everybody. It was the cheering and the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of social media posts that cheered this on. That's where people said, oh, we're done. We're done now. Now you've pretty much, you've drawn the line in the sand. And the left does the same thing. They said all these people voted for Trump. He's authoritarian. He's taking away all the things that we want, and he's taking away the rights of 6-year-old kids to decide they want to be a boy to be a girl and girl to be a boy. I still only see one side of this as logical, though, if we're going to have that argument. There's no argument you can ever have that'll say boys can be girls and girls can be boys. That I know science. Genetically, that's not possible. And then if you want to say, well, 5-year-olds can determine that, we're done. Like, that's the end of the conversation. If that's the side you're on, I am now on whatever side that's not. I'm on the opposite side. I didn't even have to come out and declare the crazy. You did. You just basically said to me, I'm medically insane. I said, okay, I'm going to be on the side that's not on your side. That's insane. You forced my hand. I am on the not crazy side now. Ironically, that doesn't make me Republican. It doesn't even, I don't know what it makes me. I'm still independent, I guess. My new political party is I'm not with crazy. That's my new political party. That's it. Just I'm not with crazy.
Gavin Newsom is right back at it. I think it was days after President Trump ate a bullet. And
that's the video I was talking about earlier. President Trump didn't eat a bullet. That's taking yourself out. President Trump heard a bullet very closely. That would be a much better explanation. He heard one whisper in his ear for a nanosecond, and then it went on its way.
Hey, Alex, you're going to have to correct me here. Someone was on national TV saying we got to put a target on Trump and take him out.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the red. It's like somebody shows you who they are, believe them. What must happen from a federal law enforcement and from a strategic perspective in order to finally rid ourselves of the ideology of left-wing terrorism taking root in our country?
Well, a couple of different thoughts. One, I'll kind of back up, and I think it's doing exactly what you're doing now, Benny, and others, which is continue to talk about this. I think what the left wants us to do is to cower, wants us to slink away, wants us to not be as vocal. And I think that's one thing that President Trump, going all the way back to 15 or even 16, has really taught us, which is we have to fight back. That the left does this, they do it very well, and the conservative movement writ large historically hasn't done it well. And we're starting to. So you got to continue to speak out about these things. But then president's obviously waded into this very, very specifically. With the Antifa designation is a very big deal. It is not small, just like the foreign terrorist organization designation of MS-13 and TDA and others is a very big deal. He is signaling to his federal law enforcement, it's time to take these people seriously, investigate, understand their funding source, understand where they get their support, material support, and prosecute. So he is telling them it's time to start focusing on it. And then it translates to the Department of Justice, to the FBI, to DHS, to all the entities that have those law enforcement officers in the field. It's time to take this seriously. But most importantly is the follow through, is the prosecution and holding these people accountable and making an example out of them. It's critically important. So all the crazy left wing, 18, 17, 19-year-olds see a bunch of people being thrown in prison for life or worse. Yes. They may decide to, I'm gonna modulate my behavior here a little bit.
It's not going to work. They don't understand a demoralized population. And no hate on Benny. I really like Benny Johnson and this former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf. Here's the thing. They're too far gone, okay? If you can, in all honesty, listen to the news and listen to these Democrats and listen to late night talk TV and listen to them saying what's going on. What will happen is Antifa is, and I have some more stuff on Antifa actually, Antifa is going to destroy stuff. They're just going to tear it all down. But here's the problem, and this is what they're not understanding, is that if you start arresting Antifa, the ones that aren't arrested yet are saying they're jailing us, they're imprisoning us. The fascists, the authoritarians, they first they came for me and nobody did anything, and now they come for somebody else and nobody did anything, and then they came for me. They're coming for us, everybody. Pick up arms, go. And just like on the thumbnail, this "Hey Fascist" catch, that's from the John Brown Club. That is an official, and it says the only political group that identifies with a, let me see if I have the original image now that I'm bringing this up. Let me bring up the screenshot here of it while I'm on this topic. Right here, it says, "Hey Fascist" catch. The only political group that celebrates when Nazis die. Join the John Brown Club. This is at Georgetown University. Let me say that again. This is at a college campus, a Georgetown University. You notice this person isn't pulling it down. They're sharing the image. The left started their rhetoric in the beginning wanting to scare people so they could win an election. That's where we started. Trump is, he's kind of acting like a fascist. He's acting a little like a dictator. They've gone all the way down now until they're screaming literally, government agents, whoever's working for Trump, they're fascists. We must stop them. Pick up arms. Go, everybody. And now you've got flyers circulating around college campuses. The only political group that celebrates when Nazis die. Wait a minute. The news keeps saying that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. The news keeps saying that Donald Trump is a Nazi. The news keeps saying that conservatives are Nazis. And when you start hearing of other people, like on Antifa or the left, getting locked up, it's go time. Their twisted brains will say, oh my gosh, it's go time. Again, remember what let me find it. Let me read you again what the guy left a note on his car. Radioactive fallout from nuclear formations that have passed over these areas more than 2 times since 1951. That's a crazy person rambling. Do you not think this crazy person rambling is going to say, they're coming for us. They're jailing my comrades. It's go time. Do you not think that's going to happen? From Paris, France, Antifa. Now, this is why I say the left is declaring war. It's not just here in the United States, gang. Paris erupts as Antifa takes over the full city, just about. Now, I don't know if that's accurate. I mean, it may be hyperbolic, but what started as a protest against the French government and Madrid Macron quickly turned into a riot led by hundreds, they say, but I saw other videos, thousands of Antifa protesters. I'm going to turn down the volume on this just a little bit so I don't blow your ears out. But spoiler alert, this isn't hundreds of people. This is thousands of people.
Are you part of Antifa?
Yeah, Antifa.
The streets of Paris are literally on fire. Police have moved in. Today I'm here in France. Right now, we have hundreds of thousands of people set to hit the streets of Paris all across France today. There's said to be around 800,000 protesters.
800, let me say that again slowly. 800,000 protesters. I think that's as many people as we have in our active military, if I'm not wrong, not counting reservists. 800,000 people in France. That's not even anywhere close. That's way more than they have in police force and military. And what were the groups made out of? Pro-Palestine, Antifa, leftists, Muslim communities. They're importing their own destruction.
Protest.
I hope that the people of the world today can see that if you show up in mass, the authorities fear you. You run the government, especially in a republic like this.
And is Macron destroying France?
He's part of the problem, but he's like Donald Trump. He's not the disease, he's a symptom.
Understand, this is in Paris, and you've got an English-speaking person there identifying with Antifa, bringing Donald Trump into this. Do you see how they've demonized Trump so much that he's now the evil to the world, including Paris, including France, including Germany?
And why are you out here today?
Because we are angry. We want more rights for the workers. We want more social justice because the rich man doesn't pay enough tax.
And is President Macron a left or a right?
Right. Very right.
I want you to hear what that lady said and take it to heart. She said Macron is far right. Macron is far right. Now, here in the United States, we know that is absolutely insane. Macron is very much like our Democrats, if not slightly left of our Democrats. Now, maybe not at this point in time because our Democrats have fallen off a left cliff. But she's saying like Donald Trump, far right. If Macron's far right, does that tell you how far left these agitators are? And he has so I'm not going to play through the whole thing. This is from a Nick Shirley, NickShirleyy. So if you want to go watch this full video, but they're out in black bloc and they're destroying everything. But that's not the only place. Italy refused to recognize Palestine as a sovereign nation, as a state. And the same thing happened. Antifa and the pro-Palestine and the left, and they absolutely wrecked the city. You've got tear gas clearing out the station. You've got people shooting fire extinguishers at the cops. Now, what happened when conservatives had one of their biggest voices ended by an assassin? There was a prayer vigil. There was praying. Say what you want about the right. There were no riots. There were no protests. There was no burning down of anything. People got together and laid flowers and had vigils for Charlie. They prayed. One of the biggest voices in the conservative/Christian side was ended. And no violence, no harm, no looting, no rioting, nothing. But a vote from Parliament that didn't recognize a different country that has nothing to do with France, nothing to do with Italy. And this is the response by the citizens of Paris, by the citizens of Milan. They're not Italians. I mean, yes, the Antifa is. They just want to see the world burn. No, a lot of this is they're foreigners that are just in your land. They're not citizens. Gazan protests in Italy block the ports. So now, hey, you're not getting any goods shipping or receiving. They just block the ports. This can disrupt a country. It is to the size. I mean, if you look at what happened with BLM and boarding up businesses and closing down cities and bringing in, huge police forces. The federal government building that was closed in Portland for 100 days because of the rioting and the fire bombs and everything else. And this was when temperatures were a lot cooler than they are now. We're to the point now where Antifa can close Italy. Antifa can close Paris. I just used the country. Antifa can close Milan. They can close New York City. They can close Los Angeles or Portland or Seattle. If they make a national movement and they all migrate to one area, they can destroy a state at this point. But it's just an idea, everybody. It's just a theory. It's just people that think alike. It's not a real actual movement. Lastly, I'll leave it with this. These two guys showed up to a college, and they wore their Make America Great Again hats like Charlie did. And instead of saying, come up and debate me, they came up and they have their ats on Instagram, or on, I think it's Twitter, on X. And they just said, hey, DEI. Now, this is a state-funded college university, Tennessee State University. It's state-funded. That means my tax dollars support this college, which means, hey, we should be able to have debates on these college campuses. And this girl right here says racists pop up at Tennessee State University. We're just minding our business and getting our education. And here, hashtag, they come bothering us. And 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, they threw a drink up top.
Oh my gosh, they threw a drink up top.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Did somebody just throw something in our car?
Arrest. They just tried to hit the car. They're still hitting the car. Whoa! That was loud.
Needless to say, they had thousands of dollars of damage to their car by college students because somebody said something they were offended by. Everybody's done with the both sides thing. I mean, when it's obviously somebody on the left says, both sides need to cool down the rhetoric. The left is not cooling down the rhetoric at all. They're making excuses again already. Well, you know, they ended Charlie Kirk, but he said things that obviously upset people. Can you blame them? Well, yeah, people are going into Christian schools and churches, but can you blame them? They're white nationalists. Yeah, people are taking shots at ICE agents, but can you blame them? They're Nazis. That's the left. That's what the left is doing right this moment. And the conservative side of the fence, the Republicans are rightly saying, yeah, but it's you guys. You keep calling us these names. You keep stoking this stuff, and we're getting tired of it. We're not going to say it's both sides anymore. It's you. There's thousands of hours of mainstream news and politicians saying the worst things about conservative since 2016, calling Trump and Trump voters and everybody else. Where do you meet? There's no meeting in the middle anymore. There's no more. A couple of guys can't go on college campus and just have it. And granted, yes, it was a couple white guys going to a college campus that was filled with black students. Should that matter? If you ask me, I'd think the least racist thing you could do is say, hey, there's a college campus here. Let's go talk to them. Hey, look, it's a bunch of black students. Well, let's talk to them even though we're white. I think the racist thing would be to say, there's only black students here and we're white guys. Maybe we should only have a black speaker at this college. That's how you think if you're a racist. But look what happened. They literally were calling them several disparaging words for white people. How do you meet in the middle anymore? How do you come to terms with this? How do you, if a couple of white guys can't go onto a college campus that is funded by Tennessee State, Tennessee is very conservative. It is a very conservative state. If you can't go to a very red state onto a college campus as a couple of white dudes and talk to black students, how do you mend these fences? She called them, this girl that posted called them racist because they're white. How do you fix that? How do you mend that? The weird thing is, I think there is somebody that was pretty good at navigating this. I think there was somebody that was pretty good at calming the tensions and bridging the gap. His name was Charlie Kirk, and they shot him.